My dear friends, imagine standing before a vast, infinite ocean of possibility. This ocean, my beloved, is your consciousness, boundless, eternal, and ever responsive to your deepest beliefs and assumptions. Tonight we shall embark on a journey together, a journey into the very heart of creation itself. Our destination, a state of unwavering faith in the perfection of all things, a state where you act as if everything always works out for you. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Wayne, how can I possibly act as if everything always works out when my current reality shows me otherwise? And to you, I say this: your current reality is but a shadow, a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. It holds no power over your future unless you grant it such power. The world you see is a world that was. The world you will inhabit is the world you are imagining now. Consider for a moment the words of that brave teacher who said, "All things are possible to him who believes." These are not mere words of comfort, my friends. They are a profound truth, a law as immutable as gravity itself. For in this universe, belief is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When you truly believe, when you act from the conviction that all is working out for your highest good, you set in motion forces beyond your current comprehension. Let me share with you a principle that once grasped will revolutionize your entire existence. It is this: the world is yourself pushed out. Every person, every circumstance, every event in your life is but an outpicturing of your own consciousness. When you change the content of your consciousness, when you alter your deep-seated beliefs about the nature of reality, the entire world must conform to this new pattern. So how does one begin to act as if everything always works out? It starts, my dear listeners, with a shift in perception. Instead of seeing the world as a place of struggle and strife, begin to see it as a playground of infinite possibility. Instead of viewing challenges as obstacles, see them as opportunities for growth and expansion. This is not mere positive thinking. This is a fundamental restructuring of your relationship with reality itself. Imagine for a moment that you are an actor on a grand stage. The play is your life, and you have been given a role to play. Now, what if I told you that you are not just the actor, but also the playwright, the director, and even the audience? What if I revealed to you that you have the power to rewrite the script at any moment, to direct the flow of events according to your deepest desires? This, my friends, is the essence of acting as if everything always works out for you. It is the recognition that you are the author of your own story, the creator of your own destiny. When you truly internalize this truth, when you allow it to permeate every fiber of your being, you will find that the universe itself conspires to bring about your good. But let me be clear. This is not about denying the existence of challenges or pretending that difficulties do not arise. Rather, it is about maintaining an unshakable faith that all things, all events, all circumstances are working together for your ultimate benefit. It is about trusting in the perfect unfolding of your life's journey, even when the path ahead seems uncertain or fraught with obstacles. Consider the life of Joseph in the biblical narrative. Sold into slavery by his own brothers, falsely accused and imprisoned. He could have easily succumbed to despair, but Joseph maintained his faith. He acted as if everything was working out for him, even in the darkest of circumstances. And lo and behold, those very circumstances that seemed to spell his doom became the stepping stones to his ultimate triumph. You see, my dear friends, when you act as if everything always works out for you, you align yourself with the very creative power of the universe. You tap into a wellspring of infinite wisdom and intelligence that knows far better than your limited human mind how to bring about your highest good. Now, some of you might be wondering, but Wayne, how can I maintain this attitude when everything around me seems to be falling apart? And to you, I say this: your outer world is but a reflection of your inner assumptions. If you persist in the assumption that all is well, that all is working out for your highest good, then that must become your experience. Remember, the human imagination is not bound by the constraints of physical reality. In your imagination, you can be, do, or have anything you desire. And as you persist in imagining the ideal outcome, as you continue to act as if everything always works out for you, you will find that your outer world begins to reshape itself to match your inner vision. Let me share with you a technique that I have found immensely powerful in cultivating this state of being. Before you sleep each night, review your day as if everything had worked out perfectly. See in your mind's eye each event, each interaction, each circumstance resolving in the most favorable way possible. Feel the joy, the relief, the profound gratitude that accompanies this perfect unfolding of events. As you drift off to sleep in this state of perfect contentment, you are impressing upon your subconscious mind the true seat of creative power, the belief that everything always works out for you. And as you continue this practice night after night, you will find that your waking experiences begin to mirror your nightly imaginary acts. But remember, my friends, this is not about escaping into a fantasy world. It is about recognizing the true nature of reality, that the world of imagination is the real world, and the world of physical senses is but a shadow. When you act from this understanding, when you live from the state of knowing that everything always works out for you, you are not denying reality, you are creating it. Now let us delve deeper into the mechanics of this profound truth. Every experience you have ever had, every circumstance you have ever encountered, began first as a state of consciousness. Your beliefs, your assumptions, your habitual thoughts, these are the raw materials from which your reality is fashioned. When you adopt the state of consciousness that everything always works out for you, you are essentially tuning your mental radio to a frequency of perfect harmony and divine order. And just as surely as a radio receiver picks up the signals that match its frequency, so too will your life experience begin to reflect this new state of being. But here's the crucial point, my dear listeners. You must persist in this new state. You must be willing to ignore the evidence of your physical senses when they contradict your chosen assumption. This is where many falter on the path to mastery. They begin with great enthusiasm, declaring that everything always works out for them, but at the first sign of apparent failure or setback, they abandon their assumption and fall back into old patterns of thought. Remember, the physical world is always a few steps behind the world of imagination. There may be a time lag between your change in consciousness and its manifestation in your outer experience. During this period of transition, you must hold fast to your new assumption. You must continue to act as if everything always works out for you, even when your senses scream otherwise. This, my friends, is the true test of faith. Not a blind faith in some external power, but a deep, abiding faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. It is a faith that says, though the entire world may seem to conspire against me, I know that everything is working out for my highest good. Now let me address a question that often arises when I speak on this subject. Some ask, but Wayne, if I act as if everything always works out for me, won't I become complacent? Won't I lose my drive to improve and overcome challenges? To this I say, acting as if everything always works out for you does not mean sitting idly by and expecting the world to cater to your every whim. Rather, it means approaching every situation, every challenge, every trinity with an unshakable confidence in your ability to navigate it successfully. When you truly embrace this mindset, you'll find that your actions become more inspired, more purposeful. You'll be moved to take bold steps that you might have hesitated to take before. You'll find yourself rising to meet challenges with enthusiasm rather than dread, seeing them as opportunities for growth and expansion rather than obstacles to be feared. Moreover, the state of being naturally aligns you with what I call your high self, that aspect of you that is one with the divine creative power of the universe. From this alignment flows a wisdom and intuition that far surpasses the limited reasoning of the human intellect. You'll find yourself guided to take actions that lead to your highest good, often in ways that your rational mind could never have conceived. Let me illustrate this with a personal anecdote. Many years ago, when I first arrived in New York City, I found myself in dire financial straits. By all outward appearances, my situation was hopeless. But instead of succumbing to despair, I chose to act as if everything was working out perfectly for me. I imagined myself living in abundance, sharing my understanding of the law with eager audiences. Now, had I relied solely on my human intellect, I might have frantically searched for any job that would pay the bills. But acting from the state of knowing that all was well, I was guided to take a series of seemingly irrational actions. These actions, which made little sense to my rational mind at the time, ultimately led me to the very opportunities I had imagined for myself. You see, when you act as if everything always works out for you, you open yourself to a higher intelligence, a divine wisdom that knows exactly how to bring about your good in ways that your limited human mind cannot fathom. But let me be clear, this is not about wishful thinking or naive optimism. It It is about aligning yourself with the fundamental creative principle of the universe. It is about recognizing that you are not a helpless victim of circumstance, but a powerful creator, shaping your reality through your consciousness. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Nebo, what about the really big problems in my life? Surely this principle can apply to everything and to you. I say, there are no big or small problems in the eyes of the infinite. The same power that can manifest a parking space can manifest a mansion. The same principle that can heal a paper cut can heal a terminal illness. The only limits that exist are the limits you place on your own imagination. When you truly grasp this, when you begin to act from this understanding, you'll find that the distinction between possible and impossible begins to blur. You'll start to see that the only true impossibility is that which you decree to be so in your own mind. Let me share with you another powerful technique for embodying this state of being. Throughout your day, whenever you encounter a situation that seems challenging or problematic, pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, how would I approach this if I knew with absolute certainty that everything always works out for me? Feel the shift in your energy as you ask this question. Notice how your perspective changes, how solutions that were hidden before suddenly become apparent. This simple practice, performed consistently, can transform your entire life experience. But remember, my dear friends, this is not about denying or suppressing negative emotions. If you feel fear, anxiety, or doubt arising, acknowledge these feelings. Thank them for their intention to protect you. But then gently remind yourself of the greater truth. Everything always works out for you. As you continue to practice this, you'll find that these negative emotions begin to lose their grip on you. They may still arise, but they will pass through you like clouds in the sky. Unable to shake your seated, knowing that all is well. Now, let us address another aspect of this principle that is often misunderstood. Acting as if everything always works out for you does not mean that you will never face challenges or that your life will be free from apparent setbacks. Rather, it means that you approach these situations with a fundamentally different attitude. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, you begin to see them as opportunities for growth and expansion. Instead of viewing setbacks as failures, you see them as necessary course corrections on your journey to your desired outcome. This shift in perspective is crucial, for it allows you to maintain your chosen state of consciousness even in the face of pitiless. And remember, it is your state of consciousness that determines your future experiences. Consider the life of any great achiever, any person who has left an indelible mark on the world. Without exception, you will find that their path was strewn with challenges, setbacks, and apparent failures. But what set them apart was their unshakable faith in their ultimate success, their ability to act as if everything was always working out for them, even in the darkest of times. Take, for example, the Wright brothers. For years, they labored to achieve powered flight, facing ridicule, financial hardship, and countless failed attempts. But they persisted in their assumption that flight was possible, that all their efforts were leading them to success. And indeed, everything did work out for them in the end in a way that transformed the world. You see, my dear listeners, when you act as if everything always works out for you, you tap into a power that can move mountains. You align yourself with the very creative force of the universe, and in doing so, you become an unstoppable force of nature. But let me caution you, this is not about forcing outcomes or trying to control every aspect of your life. Rather, it is about surrendering to a higher wisdom, trusting in the perfect unfolding of your life's journey. It is about recognizing that the intelligence that beats your heart and grows your fingernails knows far better than your limited human mind how to bring about your highest good. When you truly embody this state of being, you'll find that you no longer need to struggle or strive in the way you once did. Your actions become more effortless, more inspired. You begin to flow with the current of life rather than constantly swimming against it. Now, some of you might be wondering, but Wayne, how can I maintain this state when the world around me seems so chaotic and unpredictable? And to you, the world around you is a reflection of your own consciousness. When you change your consciousness, when you steadfastly hold to the assumption that everything always works out for you, you will find that the world reshapes itself to match this new pattern. Remember, your consciousness is the only true causated power in your life. External circumstances, no matter how seemingly solid or unchangeable, are always secondary to your state of being. When you truly grasp this, When you begin to live from this understanding, you will witness what can only be described as miracles in your life. But let me be clear, this is not about ignoring problems or pretending that challenges don't exist. It's about approaching these situations from a fundamentally different state of consciousness. It's about knowing deep in your bones that no matter what appears to be happening on the surface, everything is ultimately working out for your highest good. This knowing, this unshakable faith, becomes your anchor in the storms of life. It becomes the lens through which you interpret every event, every circumstance. And as you persist in this state, you'll find that the storms themselves begin to calm, that the challenges that once seemed insurmountable begin to resolve themselves in ways you could never have anticipated. Now, let me share with you another powerful practice for embodying this state of being. Each night before you sleep, take a few moments to review your day. But instead of simply recounting the events as they occurred, reimagine them as if everything had worked out perfectly. See that difficult conversation with your boss transforming into a productive exchange that leads to new opportunities. Envision that financial setback resolving itself in a way that ultimately benefits you. Picture that health challenge leading you to discover a new level of vitality and well-being. As you fall asleep in this state of perfect contentment, you are impressing upon your subconscious mind the true seed of creative power, the belief that everything always works out for you. And as you continue this practice night after night, you will find that your waking experiences begin to align more and more closely with your imaginal acts. But remember, my friends, this is not about escaping into fantasy. It is about recognizing the true nature of reality, that your imagination is the creative power of God within you, and that the world you experience is but an outpicturing of your own consciousness. When you act from this understanding, when you live from the state of knowing that everything always works out for you, you are not denying reality, you are creating it. You are exercising your divine right as a co-creator with the infinite. Now, let us delve even deeper into the mechanics of this profound truth. Every experience you have ever had, every circumstance you have ever encountered, began first as a state of consciousness. Your beliefs, your assumptions, your habitual thoughts, these are the raw materials from which your reality is fashioned. When you adopt the state of consciousness that everything always works out for you, you are essentially tuning your mental radio to a frequency of perfect harmony and divine order. And just as surely as a radio receiver picks up the signals that match its frequency, so too will your life experience begin to reflect this new state of being. But here's the crucial point, my dear listeners. You must persist in this new state. You must be willing to ignore the evidence of your physical senses when they contradict your chosen assumption. This is where many faults are on the path to mastery. They begin with great enthusiasm, declaring that everything always works out for them, but at the first sign of apparent failure or setback, they abandon their assumption and fall back into old patterns of thought. Remember, the physical world is always a few steps behind the world of imagination. There may be a time lag between your change in consciousness and its manifestation in your outer experience. During this period of transition, you must hold fast to your new assumption. You must continue to act as if everything always works out for you, even when your senses scream otherwise. This, my friends, is the true test of faith. Not a blind faith in some external power, but a deep, abiding faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. It is a faith that says, though the entire world may seem to conspire against me, I know that everything is working out for my highest good. As you cultivate this faith, as you persist in the act from the state of knowing that everything always works out for you, you will begin to witness what can only be described as miracles in your life. Doors that seem forever closed will suddenly swing open. Resources that you never knew existed will make themselves available to you. People will appear in your life at just the right moment to assist you on your journey. But remember, these are not miracles in the traditional sense of the word. They are simply the natural outworking of the law of consciousness. They are the inevitable result of aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. Now, let me address a concern that often arises when I speak on this subject. Some worry that acting as if everything always works out for them might lead to a kind of passive acceptance of undesirable circumstances. They fear that they might lose their drive to improve their lives or to right the wrongs they see in the world. To this I say, nothing could be further from the truth. When you truly embody the state of knowing that everything always works out for you, you become more empowered, not less. You approach challenges with confidence rather than fear. You take inspired action rather than reacting from a place of desperation or anxiety. Moreover, this state of being naturally aligns you with your highest purpose. You begin to see the bigger picture, to understand how even apparent setbacks are serving your ultimate good and the good of all. From this perspective, you are moved to take actions that are truly in alignment with your deepest values and aspirations. Consider for a moment the great change makers of history, the men and women who have brought about significant positive changes in the world. Without exception, you will find that they acted from a place of unshakable faith in the rightness of their cause. They persisted in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds because they knew deep in their hearts that everything was working out for the highest good. Martin Luther King Jr., for example, faced violence, imprisonment, and constant threats to his life. Yet he continued to act from the assumption that the arc of the moral universe bends towards justice. He lived as if everything was working out, not just for him personally, but for the entire civil rights movement. And indeed, his faith was vindicated, though he did not live to see the full fruits of his labor. You see, when you act as if everything always works out for you, you tap into a power that is greater than your individual self. You become a channel for the divine creative force of the universe, and in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but you become a catalyst for positive change in the world around you. But let me be clear, this is not about becoming complacent or accepting injustice. It is about approaching every situation, no matter how challenging, from a place of empowered faith rather than fear or despair. It is about knowing that you have within you the power to overcome any obstacle, to right any wrong, to create any reality you can imagine. As you continue to practice this way of being, you'll find that your very presence becomes a transformative force in the world. People will be drawn to your unwavering faith, your unshakable peace. They will sense, perhaps unconsciously, that you are tapped into a higher wisdom, a deeper truth. And as you share this truth with others, as you demonstrate through your own life that everything always works out, you become a beacon of hope in a world that so desperately needs it. You become living proof of the infinite potential that lies within each and every human being. Now, my dear friends, as we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a final thought. The principle we have explored tonight, that everything always works out for you, is not just a nice idea or a comforting belief. It is a fundamental truth of existence, a law as immutable as gravity itself. But like any law, it requires your conscious participation to be effective in your life. You must choose, moment by moment, to align yourself with this truth. You must be willing to relinquish your old beliefs, your old patterns of thought, and embrace this new way of being. It may not always be easy. There will be times when your physical senses, your rational mind, and perhaps even those around you, will tell you that things are not working out. In these moments, you must be willing to stand firm in your knowing. You must be willing to say, I do not accept the appearance of things. I know that everything is working out for my highest good, even if I cannot yet see how. As you persist in this practice, as you continue to act as if everything always works out for you, you will begin to witness a transformation in your life that can only be described as miraculous. You will find yourself moving through life with a sense of ease and grace that you may have never thought possible. You will discover within yourself resources of strength, wisdom, and creativity that you never knew you possessed. But more than this, you will begin to understand your true nature as a divine being, as a co-creator with the infinite. You will realize that you are not a helpless victim of circumstance, but a powerful creator shaping your reality through the power of your consciousness. And as you step into this power, as you fully embrace your role as a conscious creator, you will find that your life becomes a living testament to the truth we have explored tonight. You will become living proof that everything always works out, not just for you, but for all of creation. So go forth, my dear friends, with this knowing deep in your heart. Act as if everything always works out for you, for indeed it does. Trust in the perfect unfolding of your life's journey, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. Know that you are guided, supported, and loved beyond measure by the very creative power of the universe itself. And remember, the world is waiting for you to step into your power, to shine your light, to demonstrate through your own life the miraculous truth that everything always works out. The world is waiting for you to become the person you were always meant to be, a conscious creator, aligned with the infinite, living a life of joy, purpose, and boundless possibility. Thank you, my dear friends. for your attention and your willingness to explore these profound truths. May you go forth and live from the knowing that everything always works out for you. And in doing so, may you inspire others to do the same. For as you transform your own life, you transform the world. And that, my beloved, is the greatest miracle of all. The one thing you must stop doing, the very thing that pushes success away from you, is living in the consciousness of lack. Now, let me tell you what I mean by this, for it is of paramount importance. Every moment of your day, you are either living in the consciousness of lack or the consciousness of abundance. There is no middle ground, no neutral state of being. When you declare, I want success, you are actually affirming its absence. When you say, I need more money, you are dwelling in the consciousness of not having enough. When you proclaim, I wish I was successful, you are living in a state of wanting rather than having. Do you see the subtle yet crucial difference? Let me share with you a principle that I have tested and proven countless times. The outside world is nothing more than the objectification of your inner assumptions. Whatever you are experiencing now, be it lack or abundance, is the direct result of your accepted beliefs about yourself and the world. Tonight, I will show you how to move from the consciousness of lack to the consciousness of fulfillment, from the state of wanting to the state of having, from the condition of seeking to the condition of being. Consider this: when you say, I want success, you are placing success outside of yourself, making it something to be attained rather than something to be expressed. This is the fundamental error that keeps pushing success away from you. Success is not something to be pursued, it is a consciousness to be assumed. Let me tell you a story from my own experience. Many years ago, I knew a man who constantly spoke about wanting to be successful. He would say, when I become successful, I will, and then list all the things he would do year after year. Success eluded him. Why? Because he was living in the consciousness of wanting success rather than being successful. Then one day, he heard what I'm telling you now. He realized that as long as he lived in the consciousness of wanting success, he would continue to experience the want of success. That very night, he made a fundamental shift in his consciousness. Instead of saying, I want success, he began to live from the consciousness of being successful. He would fall asleep each night feeling the naturalness of being successful. He would walk through his day experiencing the feeling of being successful. He made this his new normal state of consciousness. Now pay careful attention to what I'm about to tell you, for this is the crux of the matter. Success is not a future event, it is a present state of consciousness. The feeling of being successful now is the secret of experiencing success in what you call the future. When you live in the consciousness of lack, saying things like, I need more money, I want better relationships, I wish I had more opportunities, you are actually reinforcing the very state that keeps these things from you. You are dwelling in the consciousness of absence, and the law of consciousness dictates that what you assume you must express. Let me show you how to make this fundamental shift in consciousness. First, you must understand that your imagination is not a tool for daydreaming about what you want. It is the very substance of reality itself. When I speak of imagination, I am speaking of your consciousness, your I amness. The Bible tells us, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is not mere poetry. It is a practical instruction in the art of consciousness transformation. When you continue to live in the consciousness of lack, you are using your imagination, your creative power, to perpetuate the very condition you wish to change. Consider this profound truth. Everything in your world is pushing against you with the force of your own assumption. If you assume lack, the whole world will prove you right. If you assume abundance, the same world will reorganize itself to prove that assumption. Now, let me give you a practical technique to stop living in the consciousness of lack. Tonight, when you go to bed, instead of reviewing your day of wanting and seeking success, you will enter into a new state of consciousness. You will feel as though you are already successful. But remember, this is not mere positive thinking or affirmation. This is a complete assumption of the state of consciousness of being successful. Feel its naturalness. Feel how it would feel to be the person you desire to be. Feel the satisfaction, the contentment, the gratitude that would be yours if you were already expressing success. Many of you are thinking, but Wayne, How can I feel successful when my current reality shows me the opposite? This is where most people remain trapped in the consciousness of lack. They allow their current circumstances to dictate their inner state. Let me tell you something remarkable. Your present circumstances are nothing more than the harvest of your previous assumptions. They have no power to determine your future unless you give them that power by accepting them as final. Think about this. Every great achievement in human history began with someone who dared to assume a state that their senses denied. Every invention, every discovery, every advancement started in the imagination of someone who refused to accept current circumstances as final. The one thing you must stop doing is allowing your present facts to determine your inner conversations. Your inner conversations are your actual state of consciousness. When you say, I can't afford it, it's too difficult, I'm not qualified enough, you are having inner conversations that perpetuate the state of lack. Instead, you must begin new inner conversations based on the assumption of already being what you desire to be. When you walk, you must walk with the feeling of being successful. When you talk, you must talk from the consciousness of being successful. When you work, you must work from the state of being successful. Let me share with you a profound secret. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the secret of creation. Whatever you are feeling is true about yourself right now is creating your future experiences. If you are feeling the frustration of wanting success, you are creating more experiences of wanting success. Now, let us delve deeper into the practical application of this principle. When I tell you to live in the consciousness of success rather than the consciousness of lack, I am not suggesting mere mental gymnastics. I am revealing to you the very foundation of creation itself. Consider this. Every night before you sleep, your consciousness is in a state of high receptivity. This is the time when the seed of your assumption will take root most deeply. Instead of falling asleep, feeling the frustration of what you do not have, fall asleep in the consciousness of already having what you desire. Let me give you a specific technique. As you lay in your bed, try to close your eyes and ask yourself this question: how would I feel if I were not expressing the success I desire? Then let that feeling envelop you completely. Feel the satisfaction, the contentment, the absolute knowing that success is not something you are seeking, but something you are expressing right now. Remember, the subconscious mind accepts as true whatever you feel to be true. It does not argue, it does not question, it simply accepts and then proceeds to express that acceptance in your outer world. This is why feeling is the secret. Many of you have been told that you must work hard, struggle, and sacrifice to achieve success, but I tell you, these are the very assumptions that keep you bound to the consciousness of lack. Success is not achieved through effort, it is expressed through assumption. Think about this. When you assume the feeling of success, you are actually moving into a different state of consciousness. In this new state, opportunities that were always there but invisible to your previous state of consciousness suddenly become visible and available to you. Let me share with you a principle that few understand. The whole vast world is yourself pushed out. Everything you perceive is an expression of your own consciousness. Therefore, when you live in the consciousness of lack, the whole world conspires to show you lack. When you live in the consciousness of success, the same world reorganizes itself to show you success. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Wayne, what about action? Don't we need to do something? Yes, but your actions must spring from the consciousness of already being successful, not from the consciousness of trying to become successful. Do you see the difference? When you act from the consciousness of lack, your actions are tinged with anxiety, doubt, and the energy of seeking. But when you act from the consciousness of already being successful, your actions flow naturally, effortlessly, inspired by the very state you have assumed. Consider this: success is not a destination, it is a state of consciousness. Just as you can move from one room to another in your physical home, you can move from one state of consciousness to another in your spiritual home. The move is accomplished not by physical effort, but by assumption. Let me tell you something profound. The state of consciousness of already being successful knows exactly what to do. It knows precisely what actions to take. It attracts the right circumstances, the right people, the right opportunities, but you must first occupy that state. Let us now address what many find most challenging: maintaining this new state of consciousness when your external world has not yet caught up with your inner assumption. This is where most people falter, where they allow the evidence of their senses to pull them back into the consciousness of lack. Remember this eternal truth. The outer world must conform to your inner assumptions, but it does so in its own time and in what often appears to be a natural way. While you're waiting for the outer manifestation, you must maintain the consciousness of already being what you desire to be. Let me share with you what I mean by persistence in assumption. When you wake each morning, your first thoughts often determine the tone of your entire day. Instead of waking to thoughts of what you lack or what you need to achieve, wake to the consciousness of already being successful. Feel it as naturally as you feel the pillow beneath your head. Many of you ask, but Wayne, what about when things go wrong? What about when circumstances seem to contradict my assumption? Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, for this is crucial. Circumstances have no power to alter your state of consciousness unless you give them that power. When circumstances seem to deny your assumption, that is the time to intensify your feeling of already being what you desire to be. Remember, the outer world is only reflecting your past assumptions. Your present assumption, if persisted in, will become your future fact. Consider this. Every moment of your day, you are either strengthening your new state of consciousness or falling back into the old state of lack. Your inner conversations, your reactions to events, your feelings about yourself, these are either confirming your new state or contradicting it. Let me give you a specific example. When you receive a bill in the mail, do you immediately fall into the consciousness of lack, thinking, how will I pay this? Or do you maintain the consciousness of abundance, knowing that as a successful person, all your needs are met with ease? Your reaction in such moments reveals your true state of consciousness. This is why I tell you, the one thing you must stop doing is allowing external circumstances to determine your internal state. Your internal state must be maintained regardless of external evidence. This is the art of living from the end. Think about this. Success is not something that happens to you. It is something that happens from you. It is the outer expression of an inner conviction. When you truly live in the consciousness of being successful, success becomes as natural as breathing. Many of you have been taught to set goals, to make plans, to take action. But I tell you, before all of these, you must first establish the consciousness of already being what you desire to be. For your goals, plans, and actions will then spring from this new state of consciousness, carrying with them the power of fulfillment. Let me share with you a profound secret about manifestation. The world is not responding to your wants, your needs, or your wishes. It is responding to your state of consciousness. When you live in the consciousness of lack, saying, I want success, you are actually manifesting more wanting, not more success. Now let us discuss what I consider to be the most vital aspect of this teaching, the role of faith in maintaining your new state of consciousness. But when I speak of faith, I do not mean belief or hoping for the best. I speak of faith as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen in the external world. Consider this profound truth. Faith is nothing more than loyalty to your unseen assumption. When you assume the consciousness of being successful and persist in that assumption despite all external evidence to the contrary, you are exercising true faith. Let me tell you something that few understand about the nature of faith. Faith is not believing that something will happen in the future. Faith is knowing that what you desire is already yours in consciousness and therefore must manifest in your experience. This is why I tell you that imagination creates reality. Many of you struggle with maintaining your assumption because you're constantly looking for evidence in the external world. But I tell you, the evidence appears after the assumption, never before. Your task is to remain faithful to your assumption until it hardens into fact. Think about this. Every time you say, I'll believe it when I see it, you are living in direct opposition to the law of consciousness. The correct attitude is, I'll see it because I believe it. This is the true meaning of faith. When you wake in the morning and your external world shows no sign of your assumed success, that is the moment to intensify your faith. Instead of allowing the external to shake your conviction, let every contradiction strengthen your resolve to maintain your new state of consciousness. Let me share with you a practical technique for maintaining your faith. Throughout your day, whenever you notice yourself slipping back into the consciousness of lack, stop and ask yourself this question. How would I be thinking and feeling right now if I were already expressing the success I desire? This simple question will bring you back to your desired state of consciousness. But remember, this is not about pretending or deceiving yourself. It is about assuming the natural feeling of already being what you desire to be. Consider how a truly successful person thinks and feels. They don't wake up wondering if success will come to them. They don't go through their day seeking success. They live, move, and have their being in the consciousness of success. This must become your new normal. Many of you have created habits of thought and feeling that perpetuate the consciousness of lack. Every time you say, I can't afford it, it's too difficult, I'm not ready, you are strengthening these habits. These must be replaced with new habits that spring from your assumed state of success. Let me tell you something profound about habits of consciousness. They can be changed in an instant by assumption. The moment you assume a new state of consciousness, you have changed. The persistence of that change depends entirely on your loyalty to the new state. Let us now explore what happens in the interval between your assumption and its manifestation in the physical world. This interval is where most people falter, where they allow doubt to creep in and return to the old state of consciousness. Remember this, the interval is not a period of waiting, it is a period of gestation. Just as the seed planted in the ground requires time to grow into a visible plant, your assumption requires time to grow into a visible manifestation. But the seed does not doubt, it simply grows according to law. Many of you ask, how long must I maintain this new consciousness before I see results? This is the voice of doubt, the voice that would pull you back into the consciousness of lack. Time is not a factor in the operation of consciousness. The only factor is the intensity and persistence of your assumption. Consider this. Every moment you spend wondering when your desire will manifest is a moment spent in the consciousness of not having it. Every moment you spend checking to see if it's working is a moment of doubt. These moments of doubt are like continually digging up a seed to see if it's growing. Let me share with you the secret of perfect faith. Live as though your assumption is already fact. When you truly assume the consciousness of being successful, you no longer worry about when or how it will manifest. You simply live from that state, knowing that what you have assumed in consciousness must objectify itself in your world. Think about this. The outer world is nothing more than a delayed reflection of your inner assumptions. What you are experiencing now is the result of past assumptions. What you will experience tomorrow is being determined by your consciousness today. Many of you struggle with what appears to be failure or setback, but I tell you, there is no such thing as failure when you understand the law of consciousness. What appears as failure is simply the passing away of an old state of consciousness. It is making way for the new state you have assumed. Let me tell you something profound about the nature of success. It is not a series of achievements or acquisitions. It is a state of consciousness that, once truly assumed, expresses itself in countless ways in your external world. When you live in the consciousness of success, success becomes your natural experience. Consider how different your life would be if you never again lived in the consciousness of lack. If you never again said, I can't, I need, I want. If you lived completely and consistently in the consciousness of already being what you desire to be. This is the challenge I leave with you tonight. Stop doing the one thing that pushes success away. Stop living in the consciousness of lack. Begin now to live in the consciousness of fulfillment. Let every thought, every feeling, every inner conversation spring from the assumption that you are already what you desire to be. Remember this eternal truth. The world is yourself pushed out. Change your concept of self and you change your world. There is no other way. All things exist in consciousness, and it is from consciousness that all things appear. Your task is simple, though it may not be easy. Assume the consciousness of being successful now. Not tomorrow, not when circumstances change, but now. For now is the only time there is, and now is when your assumptions are creating your future. I leave you with this final thought. Success is not something you pursue. It is something you express from a state of consciousness. The consciousness of lack perpetuates lack. The consciousness of success perpetuates success. Choose this day which consciousness you will live from. For in the end, there is only one cause behind all effects, one source of all manifestation, consciousness. And you are that consciousness individualized as you. The power is within you. The choice is yours. The time is now. Test this law. Prove it to yourself. For in the testing lies your freedom, and in the proving lies your transformation. Go now and live in the assumption that you are already that which you desire to be. And watch as your world transforms to reflect your new state of consciousness. The one thing you must stop doing is waiting to be successful, for success is not a future state to be achieved. It is a present state to be assumed. Assume it now. Live from it now. Be it now. For what you assume, you become. And now, knowing this truth, knowing that the power is within you, knowing that your consciousness creates your reality, go forth and be what you desire to be. For in this knowing lies your freedom, and in this freedom lies your power. Test it, prove it, live it. For this is the law, and this is the way. Good night.